Hi kids, we wish you could visit us in the gallery, but today we're bringing our Bedford Gallery exhibits to you. We're volunteer docents. A docent is a person who knows a lot about the art and wants to talk with you about it, and my name is Judy. Our exhibit is called Bird Nest in Nature. Today we'll be talking about birds, but watch for our next video, which will be about nests and nature. We know many of you have been studying birds in your science class, but today, instead of being scientists, we're going to be artists and explore new ways of looking at birds. So put on your binoculars like this, and let's go bird watching. Have you ever wished you could fly like a bird? What would it be like to be up there? Well, in fact, the Wright brothers, over 100 years ago, studied birds to learn how they take off, how they fly and move around, and then how they land. And they used that information to invent the first airplane. Artists, too, are inspired by birds in flight around the world and flying for lots of different reasons. Let's look at a few. Have you ever watched hummingbirds? Just close your eyes and imagine you're one of these hummingbirds. How does it feel? Hummingbirds fly really fast, don't they? Faster than we can even move our arms. And since they always seem to be flying so fast, I'm guessing the artist may have needed photographs so she could draw them so carefully. They look so real, or sometimes we say realistic. Realistic means it looks like something in the real world. Let's look at this cow and learn what a realistic painting looks like. See how, even though it's got some purple stripes and it doesn't look like a photograph, still we know it's a cow. Let's leave these happy hummingbirds and look at another artwork that shows several birds flying close together. The artist calls this drawing Power Struggle. Look at the bird up here in the middle. If you were that bird, how would you be trying to fly? Let's also talk about the composition of this. The composition is how things are arranged on the page. Remember the hummingbirds and how they were all over the page, but where are the birds on this page? And would it be as exciting if the birds were right in the middle? Well, now here's a painting that's really different from the drawing of the fighting birds. Let's look at them together to think about all the ways they're different. What differences do you see? One difference I notice is that this painting, called How to See, makes us look right at the center of the painting instead of up at the top. And another difference is that the bright painting has two kinds of shapes, both organic, and organic shapes look like things we might see out in nature, like leaves. And then the other kind of shape it has is geometric, things like triangles and squares. Here's an easy question for you. What geometric shape do you see? Now let's look at this. Which cow is most like the red and pink bird? I think it's the bottom one, don't you? We call paintings like this semi-abstract. You can tell it's a bird, but it doesn't look like any bird in real life. There are no flat red birds. Our last picture of birds in flight is a big abstract painting. Remember, we looked at realistic, semi-abstract, and now we have abstract. Here was our realistic cow, our semi-abstract. Here's our abstract. It doesn't look like any cow you ever saw. It's got maybe some of the same colors. And the problem is, I don't see any birds, do you? Maybe the title will help us out. It's called from the eye of a bird. Let's look at it. What could that be? Let's imagine we're up high, we're birds, we're looking down at what we see below us. What could these straight geometric lines be? I'm thinking maybe they're roads. Or maybe I'm looking at the top of a building and it's cloudy and I can only see part of it. But there are other kinds of lines too. There's some organic lines in here. Did you notice all of these gray lines? I wonder what they are. I think they're the flight of a bird. Now, think about a bird that you really like and imagine how it flies. And look and find which gray line might represent it best. And take a deep breath, steady your hand, and then in the air, follow the path of the lines. I always like this one. It looks to me like a skittery little hummingbird like we saw at our first painting. Well, birds have fun flying all day, but sometimes they have to come down to earth. And my colleague, Jane, is going to tell you about how they spend their days.
Hi, everybody. So the nest is the center of bird life. Building a nest takes a lot of time in order to provide a safe home for the family, warmth for hatching the eggs, and room to raise the babies. Let's take a look at how artists have chosen to show us a day in the life of birds. A bird's day starts early with lots of chirping and food. Grandpa Owl's going to keep warm today at home. It's usually Dad's job to secure the meals, which takes up a lot of his day. Sometimes it means wading through the wetlands, or sometimes it means waiting and watching for just the right moment. And the catch is always carefully carried home to the family. This artwork is unusual because it's made with painted tin metal strips for a shiny surface, and then it's tacked on to a wood background. So Mom teaches the kids to poke around in the neighborhood for some food to take home. Now, I bet everybody in this family cleans up the nest after meals, just like at your house, right? Right? School for birds is at home in the nest, just like you are doing today. The youngest learns to walk on the ground in the safety of Mom and Dad. Next comes dancing and learning to land on a wire. Can you see that this painting is done almost completely with lines, with just a few areas filled in with color? Uh-oh, learning to fly is a big deal, and sometimes it means having to make sharp turns to avoid danger. Singing lessons come after lunch in this nice little watercolor painting. If you have a watercolor pack at home, try painting a bird with just one color, or pick one marker or crayon for your drawing. Snack time is always important. Woodpeckers dig bugs out of the bark and sometimes pick them up right on the surface. Mom and Dad grab something quick near home. You know, this would be a fun painting to make up a title for it. What would you call it? I think I'd call it Yum, Fast Food Today. After school, 3 classroom chums sit on the branch to talk about their adventures of the day, while some of the teens hang out on the wire. Mom dresses up to go meet her friends for their weekly singing club. The day usually ends with a bath. Night falls and Dad keeps watch on the family. Sometimes there are predators or other dangers in the environment, but the family is safe in their nest. Remember earlier when we were talking about realistic and abstract art? This painting has both art styles in it. Can you see the owl in the center? He is realistic. We sure know he's an owl. But look what the artist put around him. Just shapes, lines, and color. Do you remember what we call that? If you said abstract, give yourselves a thumbs up. These forms remind me of cartoons or comic books, and in my mind, I hear danger like bam, pow, and kaboom. I wonder what that makes you think of. Shh, our birds are asleep, so we'll leave them be and take a look at what the artists think about while they are making their art. And we'll see why they think color is cool. Well, in order to talk about color, I've got to put on my favorite necklace, because we're going to start with the primary colors. So birds come in all different shapes and sizes, but the thing that I notice about them first is the brilliant, beautiful colors. They wake up every day ready to fly, looking great. Well, maybe they comb their feathers with their beak before taking off. So artists think that color is cool, so no wonder that they like to make so many paintings about birds. Now, I know that you know a lot about color. Can you name the primary colors with me? I want to hear you say it out loud with me, okay? Blue, red, and yellow. I knew you knew that. Okay, now the reason that the primary colors are so important is that you use those to make all the other colors. Let's take a minute to look at the color wheel and just remember that we've got blue, red, and yellow. So let's go on a bird walk and see if we can find some artists who use this color and how they make their work. Let's go. This artist used oil paint for her blue bird. Hello, cutie. This is a sculpture made in red with paper, wire, and paint. A sculpture is a three-dimensional work that we can usually walk around. This artist used a camera instead of paint and used a zoom lens to take a very close-up photo of a yellow bird, which shows every gorgeous feather. There's a lot of science in mixing colors, so let's be color scientists and figure out how we're going to make the secondary colors, all right? So call out to me from wherever you're sitting, even though we both know I can't hear you, but I'd like to see you do it. What two colors are you going to use to mix up a beautiful orange? Right, you are going to mix yellow and red to get orange. Perfect. All right, let's go on. How are you going to make green? Aha. Yep, you got it. Yellow and blue mixed together make green. All right, here's the last one. We've got our purple, and what's it gonna be? Did you say red and blue? Perfect. Thumbs up. You know what? Pat yourselves on the back, but don't fall off your chair while you're doing that. All right, we've got work to do. Let's see how the artists use secondary colors. We'll take a look. It looks like the artist used two secondary colors in this painting. I see orange and green. And this artist used purple. Does everybody recognize that this bird has a nice organic shape, and so do the leaves? Artists like to choose a combination of cool and warm colors to make a painting a little more interesting. It's easy to remember that the warm colors, yellow, orange, and red, are like fire or the sun, and they are next to each other on the color wheel. This artist uses very hot red and pink against the cool black background. And cool colors, blue, green, and purple, are like the forest and water, and they're next to each other on the color wheel.
We've enjoyed our bird walk with you, and we hope you did too. We've seen birds flying high in the sky, and we watch them in their daily life. But the most important thing today is we've seen how many ways we can use color in art. Remember, whether it's primary or secondary, it's a cool or warm color, or simply black and white, color is cool.